What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Demetrius Andrade versus Demond Nicholson, and this was a 10-rounder in the super-middleweight division, and this fight was Saturday, January 7th from the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., and this fight was broadcasted on Showtime pay-per-view. And in this fight, Demetrius Andrade had a successful debut at 168 pounds and a successful Showtime debut, defeating Demond Nicholson by a wide unanimous decision. He dropped Nicholson twice. It was sort of a very odd fight in terms of the knockdowns, and there was a bunch of slips and everything. And the referee actually had a hard time in this one because, some of these knockdowns and slips were so close to call. But nonetheless, Demetrius Andrade got the job done. I wouldn't say it was one of his best performances, but, he did what he had to do. So just to break this fight down round by round, really every single round in this fight was almost the same. The three judges scored this bout 100 to 88. I also scored it 100 to 88. Demetrius Andrade, just every single round was just landing more punches. Here and there, Nicholson was able to get like a nice jab in. Like I remember, I think it was round number 6 and maybe a little bit earlier too. There were a few times where Nicholson would land a big counter jab flush on Andrade that would sort of stop Andrade in his tracks. But otherwise, from every other round, Andrade was just faster, doing much better, landing the bigger shots. He would land like 4-punch combinations on Nicholson. Nicholson wouldn't really come back with much, and just overall, Andrade was the better fighter. And obviously, because he's fought at a much of a higher level, and it's just we just know that Andrade is obviously one of the top 10 guys. He was top 5 at middleweight, and then now moving up to 168. But just to break down all the slips and the knockdowns, in round number 2, what looked like a clean knockdown for Andrade, actually after review over the like big screen when they replay it in between the rounds or the replay. It didn't really look like a knockdown. When I was watching it live. When Andrew landed a 1-2, it looked like flush. Nicholson went down, sat down on the canvas. It was a clean shot, looked like a flash knockdown. But then in the replay, it looked like a jab landed, but then the left hand just like sort of grazed him a little bit, and it looked like his feet got tangled a little bit. So that knockdown, I'm not gonna hate on the referee, but in the moment, it looked like a knockdown. So I can't really say anything about that. Then the next time there was something big was in the 5th round, where this one should have definitely been called a knockdown in my opinion. There was no feet tanglement or anything. Andrade was getting backed up. Maybe he was a little off balance from backing up, but Nicholson landed like 4 straight body shots, like just powerful body shots. It was a body barrage. Then Andrade went down, and the referee didn't call it a knockdown. I thought that one was pretty clear, to be honest. Then around number 7, Andrade, he landed the better shots than Nicholson, but Nicholson, Andrade had like Nicholson's like his right arm over Nicholson's neck, like it was sort of like cuffing over his neck, and then he went down to the body and threw a shot, and then Nicholson went down, but sort of that cuffing motion sort of pushed Nicholson off balance, and the ref called that one a slip. But then around number 10, Nicholson got caught with a left hook, then a right hand sort of grazing him on the temple, and he touched down to the canvas. Referee called that a knockdown, and that was 100% a knockdown. So after this performance, comment down below your scorecard. I'm sure it's the same as mine and the judges, and what you thought of Andrade's performance. And this goes into question: what is next for Demetrius Andrade? I believe he's now 32-0, 1-0 now at 168. This was just, a so-so performance from him. He did what he had to do. Obviously, it would have been more impressive if he would have stopped him. But for Andrade, being that he's fighting on Showtime already on a big card, I think he's obviously going to get he's going to get a big opportunity in his next fight. This was just sort of a little showcase to let the fans know what he had. But honestly, it was just a basic level Demetrius Andrade type performance where he is dominating early, looks like he's going to stop the guy, and then he just doesn't really. He sort of tones it down a little bit as the rounds go on and just cruises a bit to a decision, and that's kind of what we got here. For Andrade, I could definitely see him facing a pretty solid fighter in the top 15, top 10 at 168 on a big Showtime card, something like that. I definitely think that Showtime is going to give him a big fight for his next one. But as for Demond Nicholson, I mean, he's always a game opponent for these tougher guys. I mean, Berlanga, he took the distance for the first time. He took Andrade, who's top tier. Who's world class to the distance. I mean, he's fought a lot of other guys. So, I mean, yeah, for Nicholson, I think he's either going to get some nice wins of his own, like against some lower level guys, or he's going to get called back up again for as an opponent to face like a decent prospect, a contender that wants a stay busy fight, something like that, like a nice little solid win like Andrade here. So I think either of those options could definitely happen next. But nonetheless, Nicholson always puts up a good fight and is definitely a very solid sort of B side going into every single fight. And always puts on. He always just fights hard in his fights and shows that he is hard and really takes the guys a distance and gives these guys like Andrade a sort of tough time in there. So overall, Demetrius Andrade defeats Demond Nicholson, dropping him twice to get his first victory at 168 pounds. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.